this place is. So the sun, I don't know, it seems to reflect. Hi, this is, I just noticed a big reflection here. Churan's Tiny Homestead. I'm Evelyn Churan. Welcome to my channel. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Anyways, today, I recently got a whole bunch of water barrels delivered here, the big plastic barrels. I think there's 80 liters per barrel. So I put them all the way around the cabin. I'm going to be building a water catchment system. I bring in potable water from the city. However, that can get really expensive when you don't have a well. So I got a whole pile of barrels and I'm building a water catchment system around the roof of my barn, of the cabin. And I'm going to use that for gardening, washing dishes, showering, stuff like that. The second thing I'm doing is adding a sauna. To dig a well, dig a septic, well, field bed, septic tank. I get the words mixed up. Plumbing, building an addition on the house, adding a shower, and just to wash dishes, I'm looking between the cost of $65,000 to $100,000 extra to complete that part of the build. And that doesn't even include a hot water tank. I can't put plumbing in here because it's above ground and there's no insulation underneath. So I can't do it that way. I'd have to put on a second addition or a basement in front with a deck over top and put the water storage down below and the well drilled next to it. But I still have to do a field bed right through my driveway and a septic tank. And I'm just not willing to dig up my property. It's ridiculous what the cost is. So I'm going to do whatever's cheapest. So for washing dishes, for washing my clothes, for taking showers, I bought a little shower that recharges $60. You stick it in a bucket of water and you shower. So in a sauna, it's got a removable floor. I burn some wood in the sauna, heat up the place. At the same time it heats up the water, I go in, I take my shower, have a sauna in the meantime, let the fire burn out, come in the house, I'm done. And that's going to cost me $7,500 to set up that system, as opposed to $65,000 to $100,000. So there are things that you can cut steps in when you're living off grid, where you don't have to do this, that, whatever. Like to dig 350 feet to put in a well to wash my dishes and take a shower, to me is just a waste of money. I can bring potable water in for $175 and they'll fill up as many as I want, because I don't pay for the cost of the water. The water is free. I pay for the delivery charges of the water to bring it out here. That's $175, whether I fill up 3,000 gallons of water or I fill up 200 gallons of water. So with water catchment system for cleaning and doing dishes and taking showers and washing my clothes, I certainly don't need potable water to do those jobs. There's no reason at all whatsoever to use that kind of water to do that. So that'll save me on cost with my potable water, and that'll bring down my costs again. So altogether, I made a couple of mistakes the other day saying what my overhead cost is. My overhead cost per month actually comes out to $1,100 a month. That includes internet, hydro, property taxes, house insurance, car insurance, plow truck, lawn care, wood, and water. Now my wood is $115.04 per cord delivered, cut and split. So all I have to do is pile the wood. Not a big deal. I can hire kids to do it too if worse comes to worse. So I end up buying 30 cords And 30 cords lasts me 3 winters, which comes out to $3,300 in heating for over 3 years. Comes out to about $85 a month if you do it over a 12-month span to do your cost. So I know every month I have to put away $85 to $88 or $90 a month for wood cost every year. Same thing with my hydro. In the winter months, my hydro is about $100 a month. In the summer months, it's $60 a month. I go by delivery charge and usage in Canada. That's how it works here. I can't answer for other countries and other provinces, but that's what I pay here. So with delivery charges, my hydro for probably 6 months out of the year is about $60 a month. I did have to run hydro because I didn't do solar. But in the winter months, it's 100 because I can't let my water freeze. Now, if I built a basement in the front with a deck over top of it for walking across and a door that goes down, put all my food down there, anything below 6 feet will not freeze because your frost line is 6 feet in Ontario, in most areas. So I'd be able to store my water underground without it freezing. And I'd be able to run it into the house without using heat. So that would bring down my hydro bill by $40 a month in the winters. But we have to figure some stuff out. You just put like heater coil around and whatever. Another savings on cost. Now, I'm getting lots of ice on top of my barn here, and when it falls, the water falls directly against the wall. So I have now bought a heater system for my roofs, which I'll have to use in the winter, which will probably fluctuate my hydro to like $120 a month as opposed to $100 until my basement is built. And then I'm also putting water catchment water gutters. Now, water gutters attach right to the barn, and then it's got like a little thing that sits over like this, and that part there, it would look like this. When you do, well, you can look it up on YouTube. There's directions on how to attach water catchment system to a metal barn. Or to a metal roof. It's like attaching it to a shed or a barn or anything like that. So I'm doing that for this summer. That's how I'm going to water my plants. I've already got 9 barrels to collect the water. So all that water will be transferred to barrels into my hothouses with my gas water pump. And then I'll always have water for my gardening. I've got 5 hothouses for gardening now. So yeah, all my gardening is going to be indoor. I've also got another 30 barrels coming over the next summer, which I'm going to cut in one of the sides, and it's going to be off the ground, and I'm going to make raised gardens inside of my hothouses. It's going to be about this high off the ground. And so all of my gardening will be in barrels because I keep losing all of my soil, and I'm getting sick of bringing soil in. This is a clay and rock ground, so you can't grow anything in it. You can grow potatoes probably if you want to till up your whole lawn, but to me, it's better to do hothouses, and I get a longer growing season. So that's another savings, is getting that garden done. I'm not going to put too much soil outside anymore. I'm going to start getting, like I said, about 30 of those barrels for my hothouses over the next 6 months. And some of those barrels will go outside. I'll paint them green to match the property. But all my food's going to start going into barrels because, number one, it's easier to water. It's easier to maintain. I don't lose all of my soil. And each vegetable is contained. You don't have 10 different things growing row after row after row like farmers. Like most farmers with big farms, if they're growing potatoes, they have 3,000 rows of just potatoes. They don't stick celery in between and onions in between and stuff like that. So a smaller garden doing 6 different products, it's just too much work for me to get it done. I don't have the back strength anymore. I don't have that power anymore in my body, but I do have the power to use a handsaw and cut holes in rain barrels and a drill to cut holes for water drainage and build raised gardens. And that's going to be cheaper for me to do it that way than to constantly bring in truckloads of soil in that I keep losing into the ground. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous to try and get this soil up for growing. Like, I've pretty much given up. I'm on my third year and I'm like, this is not going to work. So I got an opportunity of getting really cheap barrels and delivered and everything like that. So I'm going to take the barrels and I'm going to start building gardens like that. It's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper and so much more easier for me. And going forward, after I pass on, if my son decides to keep the property, he'll have a farm that's off grid to do his own stuff, as well as my grandchildren being involved. They have their own, this is like a camp. So they have a fifth wheel also. They can park the fifth wheel here. There's a sleep cabin. There'll be a sauna. So they'll have all the stuff that they need move in ready by the time I die. So this will get left to my family. And I think I'm going to stick with that because you won't replace the property ever. So it's only a 2-acre property. I would love to fence it off for privacy, at least the sides and the back, because my neighbor over here, his property goes right around my property and he quads right behind my backyard. It's noisy. It drives me nuts. I would rather people don't see what's going on and leave me alone. I like peace and quiet and privacy. And that's part of the reason why people move into the bush with no neighbors or very minimal neighbors. It's because we like our privacy. We like our peace and quiet. We want to be left alone. We don't want piles of drama. People have their problems. Everybody has problems. All families have problems. Nobody's perfect out there, especially not me. And I don't support the drama. I just want to be left alone. I was like that in my workplace. I had my areas to work. I'd stay in my area, do my jobs. People would come to me and bug me. And nothing drove me more nuts than people bugging me when I'm busy working. And, and when I'm concentrating on something. If you're working and having a conversation, that's great. But most people, once they start doing this, their hands stop working. Most people can't work and talk at the same time. I can work and talk at the same time. I don't stop working. That's my downfall. I'm addicted to getting stuff done, no matter how much pain I'm in. I'm obsessed with it. I do have PTSD. However, my PTSD does limit me in some areas, like winter driving, out of the question. I have not driven in the winters in over 30 years since I've got into work camps. I used to take a bus to work and never had to drive. And then I forgot. It's not that I forgot how. I'm just terrified of it. I start up my truck, but once in a while I drive it around my property, but I don't go drive anywhere, right? So I stay with the truck home. It stays parked from probably the end of September, and it's still parked right now. So I filled up the truck with a full tank of gas in September. I'm still on the same tank of gas, and it has 3/4 of a tank. Of course, I have to run it once in a while, but it's a brand new truck. I got 37,000 kilometers on it. It's a 2017. It stays parked. So in the summer months, however, it will get used. And I'll run out some of the old carbon and stuff that's in it. But outside of that, even that, I drive it once a month throughout the spring, summer, fall. And that's it. My truck stays parked. It gets driven this many times in the whole year, pretty much. I didn't buy it to gallivant around. I bought it in case I need emergencies or to get building supplies or to get any food supplies that I may have to get. And that's the end of that. I don't go to movies. I don't go to hotels. I don't go to I definitely don't go to restaurants. I mean, I worked in the hotel industry my whole career from the age of 15 up till a few years ago. And I got to tell you, I was paid to talk to people. I was paid to be nice to people. I was paid to work in some areas. Some areas didn't pay me in full. The list goes on, but I dealt with so many people and so much of the public for so many years. I would rather not have them around me. I do not want to sit in a noisy restaurant with a table next to me and 6 people in a family talking at the same time. And I have to listen to that in my ear while I'm trying to have a quiet meal. I like to sit down in a quiet, peaceful place and eat. I don't want to hear cling clang boom bang dishes in the restaurant and waitresses running back and forth and bartenders, and I can't stand noise. I hate noise. It drives me nuts. I'm peace and quiet. So that's about the changes I'm making with the homestead this year. I'm hoping next year to put a cold storage in the ground, like a root cellar in the ground, but it's going to be made with cinder blocks. And on top of the cinder blocks, I'm going to have a deck. So I want to build it in front of this camp where the steps go downstairs. Water catchment will be behind it, so that I keep the water away from my house too. I got to keep the water right away. And then it'll have like a rubber tarp around it. The cement will go higher than the ground, like by 2 cinder blocks, and then it's going to have a deck over top of it. And that way, it doesn't impede with my building permits. It's legal to do it. And then all my fridges and freezers are going to go down there, as well as my water storage, my extra water storage, and stuff like that. And then I've got industrial shelving that we use in big kitchens and hotels. And all that shelving is going to go down where I can move it back and forth. I can either pile 4 of the shelving together, or I can have walkways in between each shelving because they're on wheels. So I plan to build a cold storage underground like that, sort of like a little bomb shelter full of food and water. So maybe I'll put a pull-out cot in there for the hot nights, and me and the dog will sleep down there. Who knows? Anyways, it won't have windows or anything like that, but it will have solar lighting. I am not putting light bulbs in it. Absolutely not. I'm just going to put the little solar panel lights that it does not take up hydro. The only hydro that's going to be in there is to hook up, number 1, the water. Well, no, I don't have to. I got a water pump for that, an industrial water pump for that I can transfer my water from point A to point B. And I also don't need anything else for hydro, just to plug in fridges and freezers. And that would be 2 fridges, 2 upright freezers, and 1 chest freezer. And that's all the hydro that's going to go down there. I'm not going to put extra plugs for everything else. It isn't going to happen. And as for shelving, like I said, I buy industrial shelving for $100. It's huge. And it saves on paying a carpenter. It's easier to clean. It's easier to see inside. And all of my canning and stuff like that will go down below. Maybe eventually I'll build on a couple of extra bedrooms, but I highly doubt it. I might, on top of that deck, eventually put up sides and turn it into a great big greenhouse, so that I can start my plants earlier in the season in the winter months. Because once you add that plastic, and you put like a little roof on it, the heat inside of a hothouse is not below freezing. So if I build a deck with a bunch of tables around it, just cheap fold-out tables, I can start doing all of my seeding in January as opposed to in March or April. And that's all I've got to think about, and that's all I can afford this year because I have to pay the place off this year. Have a nice day, Churan's Tiny Homestead. Bye. Bye.